Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Banter Saga, our gaming podcast. As always, with me, Mr. Tim Harris.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
And as it turns out, we do have some patch notes. Some errors were made, or I guess error, singular, at least that I know about, were made in the last episode. Tim,
right.
what happened?
Yeah, I goofed a little bit when I was talking about Final Fantasy. I had mentioned that I had experience with, the USA versions of the games. I mentioned Final Fantasy V. It was actually 1, 4, and 6 that were released here, respectively. Not 5. So, there you go.
Terrible. Anyway,
Yeah.
to open us up, unless it hasn't changed at all, Tim, you playing anything new?
Me?
Yeah.
As of the moment, I am about to actually start playing Stardew Valley again on the Nintendo Switch this time. Again, yes.
So
It's a very fun game.
You've already been in this game.
Oh yeah, everyone's played Stardew Valley except maybe you. It's
correct.
basically Harvest Moon. It's like you make a farm, and then you do some farm work, and you talk to the villagers, or I guess Animal Crossing, and you do stuff. And there's like a relationship system, and basically you're just doing a farm, trying to make some cash. All that good stuff. You're trying to make a profitable farm. I remember like your uncle died and left you the land or something like that. And then there's of course a combat system.
It's like a chill
where you go
game.
fight monsters in a cave to get more stuff. It's pretty great. If you haven't played Stardew Valley, once you load it up, you'll be addicted for probably a good year. Yeah.
Is that a real year or like an in-game year?
No, like an actual year. You'll probably
Okay.
play all day, every day for about a year.
For 1 year.
Yeah. I don't care who you are. That's how it works.
Well, I'll tell you what. The game I'm currently playing will definitely not have you addicted for a year.
Okay.
I'm replaying because I've played it once before already, but I'm replaying the video game based on Lost, the television series.
That sounds awful.
It is truly terrible.
What is this for?
It's PC. I believe it was also
Okay.
on the Xbox and PlayStation when it first came out. I'm playing the PC version from Ubisoft. Wow. I know we kind of don't have this anymore. Publishers have given up on doing this, but man, you can really feel that like this is just the quickest cash grab. I mean, they just threw this game together.
Oh, absolute trash, huh?
Based on like this is what Lost is. So they open with the Lost like television credits, and that's kind of cool to like see that in game. So they open with the credits. Absolute fucking nonsense on any given chapter in the game, and then just smash cuts to the credits again. So like in
Sounds
that
like
way,
the show. Sounds perfect.
in that way, it feels exactly like the show, which I suppose is kind of commendable. But man, it is not good. And there's like the world's worst dialogue system. So you can walk up to any of the survivors and ask a question. It's just a text question, and then only like the very most important to move the plot along is actually voiced by your character. Most of the time you just click a question and you get a generic response.
Very nice.
And then even of those generic responses, like once in a while it'll be a helpful clue. Other times they just tell you to fuck off. It's very bad. And like maybe about 1/3 of the cast is reprising their roles, so most of the time it's just no name nobodies doing voices.
Okay. Oh my god. I can't believe that they made a game out of that and I've never heard of it. That must be why, because it's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, I kind of understand why a game was made. I mean, back in the day, Lost was pretty popular.
Right.
But yeah, this game, and it's not like this will be probably another topic for another episode, but it's not like the Saw games where you can kind of tell that there was some care. Like, they did care. Maybe the budget wasn't there, maybe they ran out of time, but like,
right,
the developers gave a damn. That is not here. That is not in this game at all.
Poor game.
I don't know about poor game. Poor me for choosing to play through it again.
I can't believe you would do that to yourself. I say this, but I play through games I hate all the time.
All the time. But interesting segue there, Tim, for you, since our main topic is games you've never heard of.
Yes.
You've not heard of Lost, but we're not going to talk about Lost. I've talked enough about Lost. We won't talk about Lost again. We're going to talk about games that you more than likely have not heard of. These games are under the radar. They're subterranean. I'm assuming these games, at least mine are. I don't know what Tim's got planned.
Mine are very under the radar, especially if you're younger. You're not gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. But if you're closer to my age, you may have at some point played my games. I picked the games that I personally enjoy, but I don't know about David.
All right, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, you lead us off this time. Let's hear your first game that no one's ever heard of.
My first game that no one has ever heard of is a game that was introduced to me by a friend from elementary school way back when. Like, I'm talking like 6th grade, so like, God, what would that be, like 1998-ish, right? Or no, it'd be like 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Sounds about right.
Something like that. Yeah, so around 2000.
I think 98's probably closer.
I don't fucking know. It's somewhere in there. Or, yeah, well, no, 2004 is when I started high school. Well, anyway.
Oh, okay.
This was introduced to me in probably 1999, 2000. The game's a little bit older than that, I would assume. But the game is called Evil Zone. Have you heard of this, David?
I might have if this was that fighting game you were talking about.
Yes. Okay.
That
is
the only time I've heard about it.
Yeah. Evil Zone is like, it came out around the time that everyone was just making like anime-inspired fighters and Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat knockoffs for the PlayStation, like Cardinal Sin, which is another game I was thinking about putting on this list, but I don't like that game.
That's a different
So I chose this one. Evil Zone is essentially the most bare-bones fighter of all time, and yet somehow manages to be like semi-mechanically difficult in ways. It's the strangest thing. So let me just give you the picture here, right? So Evil Zone,
difficult. You're talking about difficult, like it's hard to grapple with, or that it's mechanically rich, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not hard at all, but the mechanics, there's so many mechanics that are in this game that like most games didn't even have until like PlayStation 2.
So there's some depth to it.
There is, and it's kind of cool. Like, it's not like state of the art stuff. We'll get into it, but essentially Evil Zone is like an anime inspired like parody, so like it really plays into the tropes super hard. As far as like anime stuff goes, like it's an anime style fighter, so it's got your typical, oh, we got the crazy fucking, metalhead fucking demonic summoning beast boy, and then you got the booby ninja with the giant fucking airbag tits. And you got the little lolicon vampire that's 1,000 years old, so it's okay that she's, super sexualized.
But this isn't actually based on anything. Like
no, it's not based
property.
on an existing property at all. It's even got like the Super Sentai robot. It's got everything.
Okay.
Like, so let me explain this game to you, because it's super cool. Every character has their own like anime opening and their own anime ending and like their own story throughout the game, and it's all set up like it is an actual anime, so like every character has their own show. It's really strange. It's like hard to explain, but like every
as
character
you play
has
through the
like
fights.
yeah, like
Okay.
every character has their own show basically, and like in between there's the narrator, like you know your DBZ narrator, who like explains the beats of their story with like little mini cutscenes before the battles begin. It's pretty cool.
Before each battle.
Yeah, before
Okay.
every single battle, there's
Because
one
I'm
of these
imagining
sequences.
when you were talking about this initially, what I was thinking was it would be like it would almost be like Twisted Metal in a way, where you get your intro cutscene, you fight the ladder, and then you get your finishing cutscene.
Yeah, no, every, like, don't get me wrong, these aren't, like, cutscenes for the most part, except for, like, the big story beats. Like, they're literally just, like, you know, your characters are on the battlefield, and, like, they're kind of just talking back and forth at each other, and then the narrator, and it'll do, like, a split screen, and be like, do and the animations in this game are fucking incredible, by the way. Not just the anime, but, like, the actual animation of the characters in battle and stuff. Absolutely incredible. Like, you can tell the majority of the budget for this game went into designing just the animations, because they're very good. Like, everything has something going on, and like there's projectile-based stuff, like character movements and stuff.
Animations. Yeah. Okay, so like
it's
the
really nice.
actual 3D models and everything.
Yeah, everything looks great for the time, and it's really nice. But let me explain this to you. Guess how many buttons you actually use in this game?
You said this was a PlayStation game?
This is a PlayStation game.
Okay, so there's I'm gonna not including movement, obviously. I'm going to say 2.
You are 100% correct. All right. So
really?
Like, think about your Street Fighters where they use the entire controller, or your Mortal Kombats where they use the entire controller.
Let's say you have
King
at
of
least
Fighters.
6. I want to say at least 6 in most of those like fighting games.
This game, triangle is your attack button, square is your block button, right? Now you may be thinking to yourself, how the fuck does this game have so many mechanics and only 2 buttons? It's crazy. But I will get into those, and there's a lot of mechanics in this game.
So there's no like even like a singular other special button that you might use sometimes. There's only
it's just triangle.
2.
Yep.
Damn. Okay.
So as you fight, all right. So obviously you have your little battle arena. That's so far. So what your triangle button does has everything to do with where your character is positioned on the screen. So like each character has their far away attacks, their mid-range attacks, their close attacks, and then there's also grappling attacks, right? Now, this is a 3D fighter, and unlike pretty much every other fighter on this list, I say on this list, that came out at the time, so like your Street Fighters and all that, they didn't actually move on a 3D plane. They were just, mechanically operative. So, like, this game actually has a 3D plane. So, like, if you go up to grab someone, if you're in front of them, you're going to do a different grab than if you were on the side of them, or if you were behind them, stuff like that. So, like, that changes up how things work. And then there's also another mechanic in the game that, basically, depending on how much life you have left, right? So, you have to charge up this bar in order to do special attacks, which every character has 3 special attacks as well. Every single one of them has 3 special attacks that depend on how far up your bar is charged, right? Most games require you to get good, right? This game does not give a fuck if you're good, because the less health you have, the easier it is to charge up to that super special, because it's completely dependent on how much health you have left, how much you actually have to charge.
Okay.
So this game, the worse you're doing, the more damage you're doing, because you're doing terrible. And you can actually play that to your advantage.
So you could say intentionally, not necessarily throw the fight, because you don't want to go down all the way, but you could intentionally get your ass kicked and then just come back as a super powered version because your health is so low.
Right. Because you can just basically tap charge and be at fucking full power and just whip ass if you know how to block and stuff. Speaking of blocks, this is where these more mechanics come in though, right? Because, now, don't get me wrong, it's not complicated because, like, you can basically just hold square and you're going to block. There is a parry system. There's a perfect parry system. So, like, if you time things correctly, it does better stuff. And, like, same thing, if they throw projectiles at you, if you time it properly, it actually deflects it back at them instead of blocking. But basically, if you hold square, you're gonna block. And, like, that's a thing that pretty much really didn't happen back then either. It was just you're either blocking or getting your ass beat. So there's a lot of things in this game that a lot of other games didn't really do at the time. And it's
a
really
lot of this, a lot of what you're describing is very reminiscent of how the most recent, like Mortal Kombat works. I have like that super bar that you can charge and expend to do extra damage.
Yeah, it's basically the exact same kind of system.
Oh, so this game sounds a tad bit cheaper in its execution.
It is.
But yeah, the idea is definitely there. You said this is PlayStation 1?
This is PlayStation 1. It's an extremely flawed execution, don't get me wrong, but like it was so far ahead of its time. Like it did stuff that other things weren't even thinking about yet, and it's just a good game overall. And it's quirky as fuck, so like it's just a good time just because of that too. It's just a really good time, and the controls literally don't change between characters. So like if you just want to change your character, it's always the same shit. So
Gotcha.
like every character kind of plays differently because some characters are better further away, some of them are better up close. But
all the inputs
actual
are the
control schemes don't change at all.
Gotcha.
So every character technically controls exactly the same. They just play different.
So it's like Tony Hawk, where all of the skaters have the same directional inputs and everything's on flip and grab and everything, but they have different tricks.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And the game, absolutely phenomenal. And like, I would recommend it to anyone who's into like fighting games. If you're not, it's just a nice little hidden gem on the PlayStation 1. And I'd recommend it. Not a lot of people have heard of it, and I wanted to bring this one up just because this one had a pretty big impact on me when I was younger, because I was just like, I don't understand why I like this game so much, because I'm literally just pressing 2 buttons, but it's good.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, my first game... Well, both of my games are horror games. I found these as I was doing my achievement padding in Steam. So the first game I have has 23 total reviews.
Okay.
Since October of 2020.
Goddamn.
And an absolute dead forum. There is no posts on this forum. There's a couple of people complaining about bugs, but there's no discussion happening within this game.
Okay.
It is Horror Globes.
I have never heard of this game.
Technically, Horror Globes 1, because the studio wanted to do like an anthology thing, and they haven't made a second one. They're currently working on a different game that also looks actually pretty cool. But Horror Globes 1. This game it's the perfect Halloween game.
Okay.
I've played it a couple of times, so Steam says I have like 2.5 hours of playtime. I've gone through it a couple of times. So it'd probably take you 40 minutes to go through just on a Halloween night. It's super short. It's exactly the kind of thing that you would play on a Halloween night. You start off, you're this kid who's out trick-or-treating, and there's like rumors in the neighborhood that this woman has the best candy on the block.
Okay.
And you're gonna go get some of this delicious Halloween candy. Now the whole thing is like, you kind of get the impression that she's a witch, and all of the stuff that you find throughout the game is kind of like, it doesn't come out right and say it, but it's kind of leaning towards the fact that she's using children to make the candy.
Okay. It's like a Hansel and Gretel kind of thing.
Kind of. You never see this witch until the very end. But there's this thing roaming around the woods of this it's not a cabin. It's actually a rather nice stone like house, but it's all by itself. It's not like in a neighborhood. You have to go into the property to get to this house.
Okay.
There's a few puzzles you have to solve. Find this, take it back to that. Look here, find this, go back. So you go all over the place. The game sends you in every possible location that you need to go to solve to get to the finale. And there's this thing. It's kind of like the Grudge spirit. It crawls around and like jumps out at you. The whole thing with this game is you have to turn your flashlight off and crouch in order to like hide from it, but you can do it anyway.
Oh, I love mechanics like that.
You don't have to like hide behind a tree or underneath a table or anything. As long as you turn your flashlight off and crouch, wherever you are, the thing will bypass you and you don't have to worry about it. So every once in a while,
you don't have a shining beacon for it to follow, you're good.
Right. Every once in a while, you'll have to turn your flashlight off and crouch, and it skitters on by. And sometimes it will cross directly in front of you, so you'll see it go off into the woods as you're hiding from it.
That's pretty badass.
But the best part, as you're doing all of this, and it's actually very interesting, kind of the lore they set up regarding these delicious candies that you're trying to find.
Okay.
And then the game absolutely shoots itself in the foot in the best possible way.
Okay.
At the end, because it is just 100% like campfire scary story, are you afraid of the dark type nonsense. You find out the entire time as you're going around this property looking for the candy that the so-called witch that makes these delicious treats is actually your mother, and you're late for dinner.
Okay. That's
as she's
hilarious.
Like cooking children in the pot, because one of the things you have to do is there's this like elevator type thing in the house. Yeah. And there's 2 floors. You go to the basement floor and there's like this weird pulsing mass of flesh. I don't know what that is. They talk about like witches making familiars, but it never comes into play. It's just there.
Okay.
And then you go down to like the sub basement and there's like all these cots and cabinets that you can't really look into, but it kind of looks like a holding pen where like she would stash the children until she's ready to cook them.
Okay.
So you have to go through all of that, and you get to the end, and it's just like, oh, sorry, I'm late for dinner, Mom. And the kid's face turns into like a like the old After Effects demonic thing that you'd see.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
Like the kid's face turns into that, and then the game's over.
So you spend the whole game trying to figure out where all these delicious treats are, but it turns out that you've been eating them for dinner the whole time?
Yeah, that's one of the things that were like the game really shoots itself in the foot, because you start off, you open the gate to the property, and it's like, oh man, this house is said to make the most delicious candy on the block. I need to find me some of that. And then you get to the end of the game, and it's like, you live here. So why were you worried about how delicious the candy is?
Yeah. Well, it turns out that you're a big fan of that candy.
Yeah, I guess, because
been dinner the whole time, and you also get it all the time.
Yeah, but like I said, it's the absolute perfect just like Halloween vibe. Not necessarily, I mean, it's definitely got like some horror flavor to it, especially up until you get to the end. But just that goofy, silly. Honestly, if it wasn't so like dark and there weren't so many jump scares in the game, with that, all of that stuff that happens at the end, this game is spoopy.
Okay.
Just it's just real Halloween goofy fun for like kids.
That's funny.
It is. I was actually playing through it. The quality of this game is very impressive. I found the next game that this studio is working on, they have a demo out, and is also of pretty high quality. So I'm looking forward to when this game actually releases.
Okay, so it's just a good studio all around then is what you're saying.
It seems to be. And it's definitely like an independent thing. I'm not sure how many people are at this studio, but they are a very small team.
Okay.
And
very
I really hope
team that gets the job done.
Yeah, I really hope that they kind of maybe after their next game launches, they pick up on this Horror Globes thing and make another one, because I would really like to just see another bite-sized horror treat from this studio.
Yeah, horror games are always great, and I thank you for Horror Globes, everyone. How much is this game?
I believe it's less than $5.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Usually.
I'll probably pick it up then.
Yes, in fact, it's on.
You've sold me.
Currently, right now, for you, Tim. It's on sale for $4.50, but it's normally a $5 game, and
it's still not bad.
100% recommend. But okay, Tim, your second game, I'm assuming, is another retro classic.
Yeah, it is. It is another PS1 title because obviously I'm gonna go there since it was like, my heyday of gaming, let's say. This is a game that is one of my favorite games of all time, and it pisses me off every time that I talk about it, and people are like, oh, what's that? And then my brain immediately goes, wow, you don't even game, do you? How dare you?
Oh, man.
Oh my god. It pisses me off so much when people don't know about this game. This game is one of the best JRPGs ever fucking made, and it is criminal that there is not more of these games, and I fucking, to this day, it enrages me that there's not more. Actually, I'm pretty sure fucking Sony did this one too, now that I think about it, you sons of bitches.
So is there only one? Is this the only game
Oh my god,
is?
no, there is two of them.
Okay, there's two, okay.
Yes, there is this one, and then there is a sequel that even less people know about on the PlayStation 2. Yeah. This game is called Legend of Legaia. Not of Dragoon, of Legaia.
Okay.
Alright? Or Legaia, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't care. Legend of Legaia, though. Oh my god. It enrages me when people don't know about this game. So, this is an RPG that takes everything you know about RPGs and kind of just, like, makes it a million times better. And it's got the number one thing about this game. I guess I should explain the game a little bit. So let's explain the game a little bit before we dive into the best part of this game. So, this is, your typical RPG kind of story for the most part. So essentially, there's this god, and I'll explain it in the best way that I can because it's been a minute, but essentially this thing splits itself in two, and you get humans, and you get the Saru, right? And they kind of live in different little pockets of dimensions. Eventually, something happens that allows these dimensions to cross over, and the humans meet the Saru, which are like these biological, like, machine things. They just look like monsters, but based on everything in the game, I'm assuming they're supposed to be some type of biotech. But they eventually meet up, and the human beings find out that by merging with these machines, they can essentially create, like, powerful technology, and this creates, like, the first civilizations and all this shit. But it also pisses off this god. So,
the god who split himself.
Yes.
Okay.
He made like better Saru called Ra Saru, and those ones weren't traitors and they didn't go mingle with fucking humans, so they were cool. But essentially this guy got pissed, this god, and he hid all these Ra Saru around the world. He put them to sleep because he's like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm out. Just put all these Ra Saru to sleep and called it a day, right? So eventually something occurs, I don't want to spoil too much, that creates this mist that just envelops the world and makes the Saru go insane, right? Okay. So they essentially just murder the fuck out of all the humans, and the human beings that are left have to live in these, like, walled off areas where basically these big tall walls that keep the mist out because the mist brings the Saru with it, right? It's kind of like The Mist. Okay. Yes. So that's kind of the setup to this, you know. It's a neat story for the most part. It's kind of cool. Essentially, your character lives in this little village, and eventually, you know, obviously, the little village's world gets rocked, and there's these things called the Genesis trees that the Rasaru live in, right? So he goes and talks to this tree, basically, and the Rasaru's like, oh, fuck, shit's going down. So it's like, you better hook up with me, bro, or you're all gonna die, right? And so this machine attaches itself to his arm, this bio machine, and now he is, you know, destined to eradicate the mist, basically. And thus begins. They eradicate this mist, by the way, by bringing these trees back to life, these Genesis trees, because the Genesis trees are basically... I don't know the exact thing behind it because it's been a minute, but basically they come back to life and they created an energy that kind of wipes out the mist in that region. And that is how you go about the game. You go around awakening these trees and bringing them back to life so that you can eradicate the mist and figure out who the fuck is controlling this. And there is obviously an evil empire that is controlling the mist, because that's how we gotta do, right?
You know what's pretty funny?
What's that?
This whole trees clearing the mist thing that's going on.
Yeah.
It is very similar to what you're doing in Batman Arkham Knight. Because towards the end of the game, Scarecrow actually releases his fear toxin across the city, and it's this giant cloud that just covers all of Gotham.
Yeah.
And you have to go through and awaken Poison Ivy's like long dormant ancient plants in order to siphon the gas out of the city.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Like, I wonder if there was some inspiration happening here.
Maybe, because like I gotta tell you, anyone I know that has played this game is in love with this game, and I will get into why. Like, the story's really cool and it's great, and like all the characters are really cool, and like the villains are great, right? But this game, the biggest and best part of this game is the battle system. Now, the battle system is your typical turn-based smorgasbord that you're going to get from a JRPG, but the battle system revolves around what is called the arts system, right? So, unlike your typical RPG where you have, like, attack and defend and magic, and, like, you know, if you attack, that's it. If you attack in this game, it brings up another menu that has up, down, left, and right. Right?
Okay. I found some screenshots. I'm looking at the things you're talking about.
Yeah. So basically, depending on the level of your character, at the bottom of the screen you have what is known as the spirit bar, and you can input so many commands. Now, when you input commands, your character will do a combo based on what you put in, but sometimes when you put in specific chains of commands, your character will learn what is known as an art and do like a really sweet badass move, right? And then that will get saved into the thing, so you don't have to remember all these, you know, you can't just accidentally put them in and forget them. It all gets saved to the menu as you learn these things. And basically, as you level up in this game, you can string together not only just combos, but you can string together these arts into like massive fucking combos that just obliterate things. Like the miracle arts in this game, which is like your super ultimate attack, you can actually string together combos that are more powerful than the miracle arts if you know what you're doing. I think that only for Vaughn though, because if you use Noah's the fast character. She's the best character in the game. If you use her miracle art, you basically destroy anything on screen. She's amazing. And then Gala, everyone hates him. He's terrible. I know. He's bad. He's a bad character. Compared to the other two characters in the game, he's like incredibly slow. He hits hard, but you just can't do anything with him, and it kind of sucks. So, you know, he's the third character. You know, the other two are amazing.
This is another game. Your description of it is reminding me a little bit of Tony Hawk again, where you can you can put in simple trick commands, left and square, right and circle, maybe a grind. But then you can also, if you do a combination, throw a special trick in there and have it be worth more points.
That's right, and that's exactly how this works. Maybe all these games are just because I like Tony Hawk too. I don't know. But
I say Tony Hawk is amazing.
Yeah, not only is this art system a thing though, and like that itself is just worth looking into because it's not really done in anything else that I know of. I've never seen a battle system like this anywhere else except this game. It's just really good. But there's also a magic system in this game because your Rasaru, if you fight Suru, they can actually absorb monsters, and then you can use those monsters as summon attacks.
As part of your chain?
No. The magic is separate from the arts. That would be badass, though. I could get into that. But no, the magic is separate from the arts. Now, the thing that sucks about the magic, though, is, obviously, this is PlayStation. Everyone wanted to show off their chops. So, unfortunately, all the magic is unskippable cutscenes. And all of the best healing spells in the game are this, and unfortunately, like, all the healing spells take like 47 years. So that's one of the downsides of the game, definitely. The magic system itself is really cool, but like after the 700th time seeing the same cutscene, you're kind of like, fucking kill me, It's a good time though.
Especially because I'm guessing it's the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, it doesn't change. Actually, I don't even think it changes as you level up the magic, and you level up the magic by using it, which is another thing. You do need to level up your magic, especially your healing spells. You don't really got to use magic outside of the healing, but like you need to use it in order to level it up, which means you're gonna be looking at it for a long, long time. So get used to that. Now, aside from all of this, the story's great. The story can get incredibly dark at times too. Like incredibly dark, which is another thing I like about it. Essentially, this game has, like, Final Fantasy VII is kind of known for having lots of mini games you can do and like things you can do to kind of just waste time. This game has all of that, but better.
Better.
Like, it has, So it's got its own little version of Golden Saucer, basically. That is called Soul, if I remember correctly. It's been a minute. But this place has, like, slot machines, battle arenas, fucking, like, little fighting games built in. And they all are great. Like, Final Fantasy VII has these things, some of these things, like a little fighting game built in, but they're terrible. Right? So, like, it has these cutscenes, or these mini-games, but, like, Final Fantasy VII's mini-games, not that great. They're pretty bad, I'll be real. This is actually fun. So, like, it's actually worth spending time doing these things. You can even go fishing, and, like, not only that, but, like, all these things are worth doing, and they give you really good rewards. Which is a huge thing in an RPG.
For doing the side quests.
Yeah. It's not even side quests, it's just mini games that you can do to waste time. Like, just to kind of take yourself away from the story for a little while. You can go out and go fishing, you can go out and there's just so much you can do. And like all these things reward you with stuff that you can actually put to use. Like really good armor, that's like some of the best armor in the game. You can get the books that you need. You do need books, by the way, to unlock the hyper arts in this game, if I remember correctly, if they're called that. Not necessarily the best moves in the game, but pretty powerful. And if you get the book, it tells you how to do the move, and that's also how you unlock the move. It's pretty neat. But lots and lots of unlockables in this game. And then this game has quite possibly the most detail out of any game in that era, at least, as far as sound effects go. Like, literally everything in that game has its own fucking sound effect. Like, everything. Every monster, every fucking move you do, like, everything. Even when you use items, they have their own goddamn sound effects. It's insane how much detail they put into the sound
all
effects
of the items
for this game.
have different sound effects.
Yeah, everything has different sound effects. It's fucking nuts. And like they put so much detail into the sound effects for this game. The soundtrack itself is very, very good, but the battle theme, like the main battle theme, which you're of course going to hear more than anything in the game, kind of sucks. It's not very exciting. Like, it's cool the first time you hear it, and like it's not a bad track, but it's not one that you necessarily want to hear. Like when you hear that boss theme, you're like, oh fuck yeah, and that's great. The boss themes are amazing, but like the main battle theme is kind of meh. It's no Final Fantasy, you know. It's a little bit disappointing. Overall, though, if you've not played this game, and it can be incredibly unforgiving, it is absolutely worth your time if you like JRPGs at all. If you haven't played this, or Part 2, honestly. Part 2 is really good, too. It's really good. I don't think the story's as cool as Part 1, but, like, the art system's exactly the same, so you can't go wrong. It's just a good time.
Nice. All right, well, let's do a complete 180.
Okay.
Into what was actually the inspiration for the topic this week. The game that I'm going to bring up has 3 Steam user reviews.
Okay.
It has 2 discussion topics, one of which I created.
Okay.
There is 1 user guide to kind of help you through the game, of which, again, I created.
Okay.
If there is any game that is completely unknown to just about everybody, it would have to be this one.
Okay, what is this game, David?
I am talking about B.D.K.
B.D.K, okay.
It's the name of the game.
Bloody Death Kill?
Honestly, if I were to hazard a guess, it would be Baby Doll Killer.
Okay.
Is what I would guess that's supposed to stand for from this game.
Okay.
Now,
I'm intrigued.
This is another one. It's a $5 game. Tim, you're gonna want to play this one.
Okay.
Because I really do feel like it's right up your alley. This game isn't necessarily a horror game. There are things in it where each level, I say level, each map, they're not even really like levels, just each scenario that you play in this game just kind of sets a mood. And each one is a little bit different from the other moods that the maps set. There's kind of a plot.
Okay.
Sort of. You can kind of piece it together from the events that are happening. On the store page, it says it's non-linear. And I think by non-linear, he just means unrelated.
Okay.
For what's going on in this game. So I'm just going to, real quick, I think there's 10 chapters. They're all really short. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick what happens in each one. First chapter. You just follow a path of lights. Kind of like a nature trail. Like a boardwalk type thing. With lights on the sides. And eventually you get to a bridge where this baby doll killer, because he's got like a doll head, is standing. He doesn't do anything. So you walk past him and you just keep walking. Now some text pops up on the screen that says, "Don't turn around." Okay, fair enough. You're just following the lights anyway. And then you hear sounds. Sounds off to your right. Sounds off to your left. Just like, leaves rustling, footsteps type thing. And that continues on for a little bit. And then you get to a body that has been absolutely gutted. Okay. There's like intestines and organs just lying everywhere. But it's also a dead end. So you turn around, because it's the only thing you can do.
Okay.
And then this baby doll killer, just cuts you with his knife.
Okay.
Level's over.
Nice. I was going to ask what happens when you turn around.
That's the first level in this game. I'm pretty sure you can turn around before that, and it just ends the level early, and it's not like a penalty. You have to start over. Like, you're going to die, so if you die early, you just go to the next part. The second level is you're on this, like, sandy beach following these glowing white orbs. Each time, there's only one lit at a time. So each time you get to an orb, that one goes out and then the next one lights up. You do this like 4 times until you get to a door frame and you go through the door. That's the end of the level.
Okay.
The third level, you're in your apartment. You wake up. It says, get a weapon. So you go downstairs. You pick up the gun off the counter.
Get. Nice.
Yeah, you get to get. You pick it up, and then you go into, like, it's like that New York style studio apartment, so there's like a big cargo elevator that you need to take down to the floor.
Yeah.
So you get in there and you go down to the floor and you leave. And then you go to like this glass sphere and you interact with it. That's the end of the level.
Okay.
How I'm describing it is exactly how long it takes to play these. It is a very, very short.
It sounds incredibly short thus far.
The fourth level is called the Tower. You start off in the middle of nowhere. You walk towards some lights. You go up a ramp. There's a big tower, hence the name.
Right.
You go inside, and there's like a hallway and another like door frame that you walk towards. There's no run button yet. You just walk towards it, and you go through the door. That's the end of the level.
Okay.
Level 5 is where things get interesting. Because you don't do anything. It's essentially a cutscene.
Okay.
You're lying in a bed. You can look around, but you're just lying in bed. And then some like music starts playing. And then you hear some like footsteps. And that goes on for a little bit. And then your bedroom door cracks open. And the baby doll is outside your door.
And then that's the end of the level.
No.
Damn.
Close, though. You're very close. So you're lying there. You can look around. And then the door swings open. And then the killer's next to you. It does like the thing where you look away. Okay. And then when you look back, the killer's next to you.
Nice little jump scare.
And then you just... No, because it doesn't say anything. There's no sound. It's just there.
Okay.
It doesn't like scream at you. There's no music sting. It's just there. And then you get stabbed a few times, and that's the end of the level.
Okay.
The next level is another bridge where you open some gates, and then there's this big, like, I think it's the same tower. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's just the tower again. But you go into the tower, and there's another hallway to like a throne. And you go up to the throne and you pick up a knife. And then you turn around and leave, and that's the end of the level.
Okay.
The next level, you're back at the house. But this time you're the killer.
Okay, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen after that. Okay.
So you're in the house and you have to turn the music on. And then you have to make the footsteps, which is you go upstairs, but the door's locked, so you have to go find a key.
Yeah.
You find the key, and then you go in, and then you do the stabbing.
Okay.
You stab the character that you were 2 levels ago.
That's pretty badass. I like it.
Then you're on the bridge again, only there's more like these fire pillar things.
Yeah.
And you go through a couple of those, and instead of the throne room, there's like this big open atrium, and in the center is a heart, and you eat it.
Okay.
You eat the heart. And that's the end of the level. The next level is it's honestly the most frustrating level in the game because there's actual gameplay and you weren't expecting it. So you're going through this hallway and there's doors on every side. And you make a couple of turns. And when you make one turn, the killer is there. and he like whips out a knife and starts running at you. So you have to turn around and start running away. This level actually has a run button.
Okay.
So you start running away back the way you came, and instead of hitting a dead end like it was before, it opens up into a street with buildings on each side and like some street lamps.
Yeah.
So you're going through that. You run. You just keep running. There's like 5 turns you have to do. Just empty street. There's nothing else. You just run from the thing chasing you.
Okay.
And then you get to this apartment building. You turn down the alley, pick up a gun, and shoot the killer. And that ends the level.
Nice.
The final level now. It's in a graveyard.
Okay.
You're burying a body. I don't know whose body it is. But you've dug the hole and you're throwing the corpse into it. And you hear a scream. The game tells you to find the scream. So you have to go down through the graveyard following the sound of the scream. Eventually, you discover it's being played on a tape recorder. So you pick up the tape recorder and go back to the body you were burying.
Except on the way back. Tape recorder?
Yeah, you turn it off.
Okay, good.
Except on your way back, there are now multiple baby dolls with knives coming from like all behind all of the tombstones that you have to like dodge and everything. And like you can dodge them for a little bit, but eventually one will catch you and stab you.
So baby dolls are alive now.
Well, they're not, they only have baby doll heads. They are like people.
Oh, okay. So there's multiple of, okay. I got you.
They just have a baby doll head, but they are like, they're person sized. They're not just like dolls.
Okay.
So the ending cutscene, your disembodied head is being carried to a ritualistic circle where all of the baby doll heads have gathered and like, I don't know, praise Cthulhu or something. And then the game just ends. I have no idea what the fucking last cutscene is.
Okay.
But
yeah, well, of course they're going to be praising Cthulhu. What else would they be praising?
What else would they be doing?
Yes.
But that's the entire game. And it takes about...
Awesome.
It's very... I don't even know what to call it. I'm not going to say it's awesome because it's a little bit irritating going through this the first time, especially if you're looking for... Because in every level there's a mask. And it's just a collectible. You pick it up. And trying to find them in each level is usually pretty straightforward. But then, especially on the run level, it's just in complete darkness with no hint to where it's at. It's very frustrating.
That's the fucking game that you said you used cheats to get the thing, isn't it, David?
Cheats? I did cheat. But not the cheats you're talking about. The glitched achievement, not those cheats.
How dare you.
I had to hack the nav mesh so that the killer wouldn't chase me so I could find the mask.
You son of a bitch. Yeah.
So once I knew where it was, I restarted the level and grabbed it as I was running. So technically, I did it
so you did
correctly.
Do it legit. Okay.
I just had to turn it off so I could fucking find it.
Yeah, you made it sound like you cheated completely. Unacceptable, but
no,
that's
just
acceptable.
The discovery was the only part I cheated. I actually grabbed it legit.
Okay,
but this is no.
It has collectibles.
It has collectibles. It's a $5 game. Literally, no one knows about this. Both of the reviews that are on Steam have like, they're like Let's Players. They've played the game. I'm pretty sure they're the only other 2 people that have played this game.
Okay.
For someone like yourself, Tim, 100% recommended.
Oh yeah, it sounds right up there.
Should play this game. Just for the mood, the atmosphere.
Right.
Probably literally anyone else should spend $5 somewhere else. It's a very specific, very niche interactive piece of media. And I'm not disappointed I played it. It's not something that like, wow, that was a waste of time. It is certainly interesting. But it is not for everyone.
Well, I mean, you wrote a guide, so I mean, you definitely spent some time on this.
If that helps anyone looking for these masks, because there are achievements. That's why I found it. I was going through it for the achievements.
Right.
And I wrote a guide to help anyone else maybe looking for those achievements. But like I said, knowing you 100% recommended.
Okay.
Anyone else?
It definitely sounds 100% my thing.
Anyone else? Like, I know it's only $5, but don't say I didn't warn you.
Now, before we close, I did forget to mention one thing about Legend of Legaia that's actually really cool. Yeah. So you know how in most games, right, when you get new like stuff and you put it on, nothing changes?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in this game, when you get new weapons and armor, your character model actually fucking changes, and so do the weapons they're holding. All of that stuff changes. Like, even if they get earrings as an accessory, they now have earrings on their character. And every single one of those items has its own model.
Yep, that's actually pretty impressive for PS1.
Yeah, it's badass. Like, this game has so much shit that you just don't think about. But it's there. And yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Like, I remembered it about halfway through what you were saying. I was like, oh, I meant to talk about that. But yes, even if just for that, you should play the game. Okay.
If you can find it.
Yeah, it's actually probably not expensive because it had a greatest hits version.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it did. Probably because Sony is the one who made it.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay.
Based on the amount of people that I don't know about this game, I can't assume it sold well.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, Tim.
Yes.
Is there anything else you're looking forward to playing recently?
So,
if it's still just last time, that's fine.
Yeah, I am still 100% looking forward to playing the Room 4. I have not played it yet, but there is a game that I am going to be playing so that I can finally get 100% achievements in it. The perfect game, if you will.
Yes.
And that game is Resident Evil 7. I just need to beat it on Madhouse mode. And I think I still need to beat a couple of the DLCs on there. Like, I need to beat Ethan Must Die, and then I need to beat the Night Terror mode, I think it is. So I have a little bit of work.
Yeah. And Resident Evil 7 had some great DLC.
It really did.
Really
It really
good.
did. And like, they're not easy. They're not easy. Yeah, they're not easy.
That is one I have not gotten a perfect game on Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I will be doing that over the course of this week. I will be getting the 100% on that game, hopefully.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I probably will not be doing that anytime soon. Mine really hasn't changed. There's not been a lot coming up that I'm looking forward to. Some news about God of War Ragnarok recently came out, and it's probably not going to be out anytime soon. So, I mean, that's like really far off, but for the time being, probably the next game that really is going to be on my radar is Psychonauts 2.
Oh, man.
And I got another update saying they are committed to releasing at the end of this year, so we'll see.
When April rolls around, I'll have something I'm definitely looking forward to playing.
What's in April?
Oh, you.
I suppose
the
we can
Saga
wait.
Frontier remaster?
Oh, that's right, the remaster.
Oh, fuck. No, we can't wait, because I can't believe you didn't remember.
Those are my games. I don't pay attention
yeah, I know.
to that.
What a fucking game. We'll be talking more about this in April. Don't you worry, folks.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you for listening to us ramble about these games that you'll never play. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about a game that we'll never play in the comments below? Choose a thumb and pick it so that we know how this video was. And subscribe, because this is the only thing we do. This is not good. There's not going to be any other sort of videos on this channel. It's just going to be us talking about the games that we love. Also, the games that we think should be talked about, even if we don't love them.
That's right.
We will see you next time.
Good day.